The Nintendo Switch is Nintendo's newest money-making machine that is home to some of my favorite games in their many franchises. Like seriously, the first-party titles on this thing have been some of the best in their franchises. Mario Odyssey was amazing, the magnificence of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, Pokemon Sword and Shield were, and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's giant roster, just to name a few titles. And even though I put tons of hours in the Smash Bros. And continue to put countless hours in, especially because of the numerous DLC that has come out for the game, my favorite game for the Switch is still The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Actually, Xenoblade Chronicles might be tied with it at this point. But besides the remaster, Breath of the Wild is still my favorite game for the Switch. I absolutely loved it. The art style, the gameplay, the flashback story scenes, the mini dungeons, the divine beasts, and the DLC were all incredibly amazing. Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess used to be my favorite Zelda games, but after Breath of the Wild, it easily became my favorite, and I can't wait for the sequel. But before that, Nintendo's releasing a prequel releasing soon, called Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Hyrule Warriors, That name might sound a bit familiar. It was originally a Zelda Dynasty Warriors style game for the Wii U, and when the Switch came out, it was ported to with all the DLC with a few extra bells and whistles. So before Breath of the Wild's Dynasty Warriors game releases, let's take a quick look at Age of Calamity's gameplay predecessor, with Hyrule Warriors. So real fast, a Dynasty Warriors game, also referred to as Musou games, are games where you fight an entire army all by yourself. You are a one-man army versus hundreds of soldier fodder and soldier leaders. And I mean just you. Your army is there mostly to take up space and territory for when you capture the enemy bases. Rarely will your army do anything significant, and it's up to you to do everything for them. And I mean everything. So Hyrule Warriors, like I mentioned, originally came out for the Wii U, but that system crashed harder than a car driving off a cliff into steel spikes. So most people will be playing the Definitive Edition that came out on Switch if they do try it, which was evident by the increase of sales Definitive Edition had on Amazon when the Age of Calamity was announced. Hyrule Warriors was the biggest celebration and love letter to Zelda fans ever. Like all Musou games, it has the same monotonous gameplay where you do the same combo strings over and over again, but the game is littered with Zelda references and characters up the wazoo. The game's story mode is honestly the weakest part. A sorceress who watched the events of the world of Zelda play out, and because she became horny for Link, split into two different people and gathered monsters and sections of the world through history and different timelines to have Link all to themselves. It was just an excuse to have as to why characters from all the games were now present. The story mode was also just more annoying because Link was a character you'd be playing more as than anyone else, which isn't inherently bad, but the very long story missions would only become longer if you didn't pick Link or anyone close to his level, since new early characters joining you would be very low level. But there are tons of Zelda references everywhere, from basic mechanics and gameplay and animations, to a character's moves and combos. There's even an entire game mode that in of itself is one giant reference to the original Legend of Zelda, and within that are references to other mainline Zelda games. There is so much love and fan service poured into this game. Remember the moon from Majora's Mask? Remember that terrifying moon? Watch as it decimates your enemies! Not to mention that the roster can become insane and filled with many beloved characters and costumes from over the years, Midna being my favorite from the series. The original on the Wii U had already a great roster, but then the 3DS version came out. Never played that one, but it got even more characters, and later you could purchase them as DLC for the Wii U version, because screw getting a poor handheld version of that game. But in the Definitive Edition, you have to unlock all the DLC characters, which kinda sucks for the people who love them in the Wii U version, but it does extend the playtime of the game for sure to unlock all of them. But I just do not have the patience to go through the Definitive Edition story and unlock all the characters again, which is longer than the original story mode already, which I've already played through once and done tons of extra stuff on that version a while ago. Like, I mean, you need to do some really extra stuff to unlock the rest of the cast from the Wii U version, and they're very hard. The mode that references the original Zelda game, the Adventure mode, is expanded to multiple references to more games. There's an Adventure mode map for multiple different series in the franchise. Like there's a map for the Realm of Twilight, Koholint Island, the Land of Termina, just to name a few. You unlock most DLC characters from the first map alone, but if you wanted Toon Zelda, Ravio, or Yuga, good luck. Earlier I said the gameplay was monotonous, which is true, but outside the main story, it's easy to mitigate this issue. For one, the numerous amount of characters in this game all play very differently, along with each different weapon for characters who have more than one, are not even close to one another in terms of combat and combos. For two, come on, if you're a Zelda fan playing this, and why wouldn't you be if you're playing this? You want to see those animations of your favorite characters, so you're going to want to see the combos anyways. Plus, each character has a quick special to use, and a magic mode that has 2 different specials, and this is per character. It's satisfying seeing your favorite character blow through hundreds of enemies.
Destroy the moon!
And the big number 3 reason for playing the Definitive Edition more than the already dead Wii U one, and to mitigate the monotony, is that the Definitive Edition on the Switch allows for selecting between multiple characters. You like the new characters Lana and Sia? I bet you would love playing as both of them, which I do, and I did! Unlike the Wii U version, the Definitive Edition version allows you to select and switch between multiple characters. Some stages even allow up to 4 choices of characters. The joy I got from the game letting me choose between Skull Kid and Midna to play at once, on one stage, must have been similar to the high people get when they're on crystal meth. Look at this. This image is so powerful. Or how about even the old kings of Hyrule? And this is easily the biggest and best reason to play the Switch version. I honestly wouldn't have minded unlocking all the characters again, but I can only put up with playing the same game again without my favorite high-leveled characters. Now, I didn't unlock every character on the Switch version, but the original Wii version I put tons of time into. I did tons of stuff with that version's adventure mode and enjoyed the tons of characters and costumes and weapons I had as DLC. Like seriously, going back to see what I had on the Wii U version was really nice. Freaking love this timeline weapon Lana has. But I burnt out eventually. I can only be a one-man army for so long with Zelda elements and references, which is why I burned out even faster on the Switch version, and it didn't help starting from zero again. Again, you are a one-man army with the same mindless several combo strings, maybe mixing it up every now and then with some flashy special attacks, but you get to do all of this while playing as your favorite Zelda characters, with some references and gameplay from those games. Does that sound enjoyable to you? Now imagine that, but applied to Breath of the Wild solely. Instead of characters throughout the series, just characters and weapons from Breath of the Wild. If it does sound enjoyable to you, then great! Give Hyrule Warriors a try, and better yet, you'll probably enjoy Age of Calamity. Age of Calamity looks to be given an even deeper connection in gameplay between Dynasty Warriors gameplay and Breath of the Wild gameplay. Unlike the first Hyrule Warriors where the story split up for labs or was an excuse to give us this gem of a crossover, Age of Calamity seems to be giving us more characterization and connections to the characters and story of the Breath of the Wild series of games. And even the art style is completely the same. Some gameplay aspects from Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, like switching between characters, is also coming back. Thank God. In a dream that will never happen, I hope that the characters in the original Hyrule Warriors come back in Age of Calamity. Like, they don't have to be in the Breath of the Wild art style or anything. They can just be there sticking out like a sore thumb. I don't care. Come on, that would be great! Princess Ruto and Mipha teaming up would be sweet. Or how about Daruk and Darunia? Nah, never mind about that last one. I wasn't a fan of playing Darunia on Hyrule Warriors. Like, they can be in the game, but outside the story mode. Please. I don't think this will happen, but a man can dream. All in all, I can happily say I'm very excited to play the new Hyrule Warriors game, and I can't wait for it to get here. But, if you're watching this, be honest with yourself. If Hyrule Warriors doesn't sound like your thing, or you played Breath of the Wild and Hyrule Warriors, and you weren't a fan of the monotonous gameplay of being a one-man army for more than an hour, then you probably won't enjoy playing Age of Calamity. No amount of Breath of the Wildness it has will change the fact that it is a Musou game. And if you're still on the fence about it, Nintendo has put a demo for Age of Calamity on the eShop on the Switch to try. If you like that and you could see yourself investing even more hours into that gameplay, then definitely go for it. If not, then just wait for whoever to post the cutscenes and watch those. I'm guessing most Breath of the Wild fans are going to buy this game regardless if they like Musou titles or not anyways, just because of the impact Breath of the Wild had on them. This quick look video was just an excuse for me to talk about my love for the Zelda series and Breath of the Wild. Can we just put a few characters from the original Hyrule Warriors, please? Like the originals like Sia and Lana. I was a big fan of Lana and her design and gameplay. Maybe we could also show Skull Kid and Midna.